want to quick save at the edge of a ledge and spend 15 minutes carefully adjusting my jump timing to make it to the fucking edge, you know?
Feel free to explore the rest of the house and gardens.
Oh, and also, what the fuck is up with driving the same way?
Hey, princess. How you doing? See, do the talking to chat. Let's fix that one. Camera. There we go. There I am. Hey. How you doing? Okay, so here's what we're doing today. This is my PS5 controller. What we're doing today is running through a couple practice. So my presentation is only 10 to 15 minutes long. That's how long I have to talk. So what we're gonna do is practice talking. Does it work right now? Nice. Is it a slow day in the front office? No, you work in the veterinarian. What are you again at the veterinarian? I feel like my screen's very bright. Like, I feel a little washed out. Yeah, a little too bright. Let's turn that down. Now I'm too dark. Fuck. How do I fix this? looks a little bit better. The gamma. Is this better? Let me look at my YouTube. Tricky on YouTube? Wait, you're both? Yeah, I am. It's allowed as long as you're not like a partner. I'm just an affiliate. But even partners do it too. But I prefer my chat being in Twitch. It's easy for me to keep track of. I have a multi-stream button, but it doesn't look as good. Veterinarian assistant. Oh my god, you sound so cute. Holy fuck. It is so precious. It is so precious. A little bow hopping up and down. When are we gonna get the fit reveal from you, princess? I like I have to see you with this like bow. Are you wearing a bow on your head? Like a bow on your head? Like a headband bow? Just, oh my god. Oh my god. Should I upload those videos of the songs? Of like just the songs for VF3 Arrange? Should I upload that? I made those videos for myself. Not really for public consumption. But I could. Well, yeah, since it is what I have on currently, depending if it's too distracting, I may remove it. I'm dying to see this bow. It's like big and floppy, like one of those big floppy bows. Just imagine you skipping through the halls right now. Should we do ultra wide or wide? See, like I prefer this level of gamma, but then you can't see. The ultra's nicer, really? I'm not playing it. It's just there for background. It's Final Fantasy 14. I don't want to get kicked out of the server and have to wait 2 hours to get back in. So I'm just going to sit. I'm just sitting in the lobby. I'm staying in the game, being active enough. Move my controller once every 30 minutes so I don't get kicked out. That's the stray. That's the strat. So you're telling me you prefer the wide angle lens. Gotcha. Okay, so let me just do a few tweaks. We're upping the contrast as a hair. I think the gamma's fine where it is. I think we just found the right setting. Because I felt too washed out. Like the color was washed out. Like there was like this. And that only exists on the wide angle lens. Yeah. Like I was on TV. On the other one? But then, why don't you like the other one? Why do you prefer this one? Where they use a lot of filters to get rid of wrinkles? No, this is just how I look. Right here, bam. That's just me, baby. For to watch my apartment, you want to see my living abode, my table, my very shiny table. You want to see the things. Oh shit! I forgot my Hold on, I gotta get my fucking trash can. Freaking left that shit in the kitchen because I was throwing it out. I had to throw my garbage out. What's up, Burden? Okay, so let's get ourselves focused here. All right, we got a couple of you here right now, which is great. So here's what I would really love is for those of you who are here to listen to my presentation and then ask questions at the end. 10 minutes. Any question is fine. Doesn't have to be. If you feel like this question is dumb, doesn't matter. It's fine. The thing isn't to like practice answering hard questions, which will likely happen anyway. The thing is to just practice answering questions. Period. Was the egg or chicken first born, you motherfucker? Question related to the fucking to the presentation, motherfucker. Goddamn. All right, let's fix this screen here. Not that one. Whoops. Whoop up. I know it's black. I know it's black. My dissertation. So for this, since we're switching screens here, we're gonna go to this one. Want me to turn on my eye tracking? You want me to turn that on for y'all while I do this? I can. Should I turn on the tracking? Brick brain motherfucker. This eye tracking. Asshole. Eye tracking motherfucker. How can you tell me your fingerprints? Questions about the fucking dissertation, motherfucker. All right. Where's my timer? Is that a required template? What? This? The template's already decided. We're not changing anything. Just the shit's tomorrow. I'm not changing a goddamn thing. All right. Let's start. So thank you everyone for coming to the presentation. Today I'm going to be talking about the data for my dissertation, where I'm reviewing the effects of student race and class intersections on the assignment of school-based resources. So I'll very briefly review our literature review, but today we're talking about data, but I'll talk a little bit about the literature review here, just to remind everyone kind of setting the frame. So I like this quote that I used, which is, segregation of white and Negro children in the public schools of the state solely on the basis of race, pursuant to state laws permitting or requiring such segregation, denies to Negro children the equal protection of the laws regarding guaranteed by the 14th Amendment. I need to work on saying that more clearly. This was in 1954. This was the Brown versus Board of Education. This is the case that resulted in the integration of schools. And I'm using this quote because essentially identity-related bias in education is still present. It just looks different. And Kenneth Clark, who was one of the seminal articles that was, used as evidence for the harm of segregation in the school setting in 1979, reviewed the impact of that decision made in 54 based on partly his work. And it's been 42 years since Kenneth Clark's review of the analysis from 54. And he noted that desegregation is still needing to happen. We haven't really achieved the desegregation process that we wanted. I'm going to practice saying it a little bit better. Actually, I want to go through this part faster as well. So because of this bias that are in the classrooms, we are, the literature also is implying that, race isn't the only thing that is important here. The social class is also influencing teachers' decisions about students and student behavior and their potential for academic achievement, even their academic achievement in the classroom. So race and social class, both are important here. And so because of this, my study is viewing, how does cultural identity and school-based referrals impact the kind of services that teachers and counselors are, regular people willing to watch, static text, that's it. Damn it, I got distracted. I'm practicing this. It's harsh but true. You speak facts. Cultural identity in school-based referrals for service provision. So there's overrepresentation currently of students of color in special education. And disciplinary practices for students of color and low socioeconomic status students is overrepresented as well. So essentially, people of color and low SES folks are getting overly punished by our education system, which is in stark contrast to the essence and to the heart of the Brown v. Board of Education case. And Kenneth Clark in 79, in his final review of the impact of this case, was warning us that this was going to be the case too. We're gonna restart this. I spent 3 minutes on this one slide. I have 15 motherfucking slides to go over. So we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna try this again. We're gonna try to keep it to 1 minute, because I essentially have 1 minute per slide. So thank you all for coming to the presentation. So today I'm going to be going over the effects of student race and social class intersections on the assignment of school-based resources. And I'll be going over the data analysis, chapter 4 of my dissertation. So first, just briefly, I'll spend a minute on the literature review just to kind of reorient us. So the purpose of this study came from the fact that in 1954, many years ago, there was a case called Brown v. Board of Education, which essentially ruled that it's illegal to segregate students based on their race. So hence, integration of school system happened after that. Now, Kenneth Clark was one of the seminal works that was influencing this decision in the Supreme Court ruling. And in 79, he did a review of the impact of his work on desegregating schools, and found that in 42 years, it hadn't been in the time frame in which, oh shit, I know why I said 42 years. Hold on. So 79 minus 54. Let's do a quick calculation. Calculator. 79 minus 54 is 25. 25. Okay. In the 20... Damn it, we're going to do this again. Fuck! Let's try this again. We got this, though. Thank you all for coming to my presentation today. I'll be going over my data defense for my dissertation, which reviews the effects of student, race, and social class intersections on the assignment of school-based resources. So quickly, I'm going to go over the literature review here just to reorient us again. So the basis of my study is that there was a seminal case in 54 in the Supreme Court where the schools were ruled to be required to integrate. Desegregation was commenced after this point in time because it was decided based off of some work like Kenneth Clark's work that segregation of the school system is harmful to students of color. Now, in the 25 years from when that case was decided, Kenneth Clark did a review of the impact of his work and whether desegregation has been successful. Essentially, are schools desegregated now? And his findings were that actually, no. Desegregation is still what was still not fully achieved. And the spirit of the case decision was very difficult to enact in urban centers, specifically northern urban centers like New York. So this is the background here. Essentially, there is still bias in the classroom setting, and this bias is not only about race, it's about cultural identity, and it's also regarding the socioeconomic status of these students. So this is the framework, and the purpose of this study overall is to review how are aspects of students' race and socioeconomic status associated with teachers and counselors' recommendations regarding supportive and remedial services before provided to those students. So my study, the data I analyzed here is I was looking at archival data that was collected from students and counselors in a classroom vignette study where participants were told to recommend certain programmatic services based on a hypothetical child vignette. And the measures used in the study were recruited through an online questionnaire through Qualtrics. The survey was shared widely via groups, forums, organizations that had teachers in them, classrooms, and the like. This was an experimental study that did recruitment of human participants, essentially. Groups that were working with students from either elementary school or up to high school were the main targets here. So I recruited a sample of 203, and ultimately this yielded a sample of 136 complete results, meaning they completed the questions that were asked, the experimental questions that were asked. Some participants, I won't say that other part. If they ask me, I'll answer the other thing. Okay, so what were my aims? I have 4 main aims. First one was to analyze the behavioral ratings, service programmatic intervention recommendations of the participants for this study vignette. And there are 2 parts to this aim. The first one is our behavioral ratings of the student vignette demonstrated a multi-dimensional factor structure. And these factor structures will, these factors will describe the student's socio-emotional characteristics that could range from being bored to lacking stimulation. I'll tell you more about this in just a moment. And the second part of this first aim was regarding the service and programmatic interventions. So the ones that are recommended by the participants will demonstrate a multi-dimensional factor structure as well, regarding the interventions that are recommended to be provided for these students. My second aim was to identify correlates of behavioral ratings and service recommendations with individual participant characteristics like social class, race, and current type of school involvement. The third, meaning teacher or counselor. The third aim was to explore the relationships between participant behavioral ratings and the recommended student interventions with vignette characteristics such as student race and social class. And this aim was broken up into 2 parts. One part was behavioral ratings will be significantly correlated with the study vignette, race, and social class. And the second hypothesis to this aim was that the behavioral ratings factors will be significantly correlated with the types of programs and service participants recommend for that student. And my fourth aim is to generate hypotheses for future studies based on the current findings in this study. So this first aim, I created a factor structure, which I called the problem child, the prodigy, and the sensitive child. And this factor structure came as a result. Hold on, I need to pull one more file open. Oh. There it is. And we're back to the timer. So as I present you these research aims, I'm going to organize them by the according to my research questions. That's how we're presenting the data. Except for the final aim, which is more meta and will be more dug into during the discussion of this. I'm reviewing my things. Now that there is a lot of things to look at here and try to orient you to some of the more notable features of the results. Any parts that you would like us to talk about more, we could definitely go into together too. So there are also a lot of results for me to talk about here, and I'm going to do that here. That there. There's a lot of things to look at here and turn. Okay. I'm going to organize results based on the. I'm just putting my things in the right spot. All right. So we're going to restart this again. I know it's riveting. When I'm researching. You know what? Just the right time. I'm going to restart it, so you're going to find out. I'm about to tell you. I'm just moving some of my notes here to my note section here, so I can. So it can be either structured or open discussion. Hit to highlight the main points. Stage what I think. Tell who the participants were. Who were these participants? Data collection. So end here. I'm going to end on that comment. Are y'all digging this music, by the way? I hope you are. Yeah, it's really good. This is the Final Fantasy music. Because I'll do it here. This will be my I'm gonna use what I wrote. Fuck this. I already wrote good shit. Why am I like reinventing my fucking wheel? I gotta tell them a little bit about who the participants are. This city. Yeah, 9 participants. We'll just restate that. Let me try reading this in one more part. Social class. Shit, I said proposes still. condensed. Damn it. Oh well. I thought I proposed in some spot. I thought I changed that. I think that's all I need to tell them about the participants. That maybe school level. Further reduced. Reduced these 3 school injury. Fuck, man. Oh well. I know you can't see. It's okay. I hate finding errors after the fact. I hate that shit. And I could have fixed, like when I sent it to them this morning, I could have fixed it. Yeah. But for the research aims, I'm actually going to use this, because I think this is a more condensed. Here. I do it this way. In the stimulus, I just tell them really quickly. You got it? Okay, cool. Education opportunity, not to say opportunity. There's bias in what kind of things teachers and counselors would provide for a student. Hang out and I'll actually tell you because I have the data now. All right, so we'll go with that. So let's try this again. We got 1, 2, 3. We got 4. We're gonna spend 4 minutes on these slides. 4 minutes on these 4 slides. Thank you for coming to my dissertation defense and for the data section. So I will be today going over the effects of student-race social class interactions on the assignment of school-based resources. So briefly to go over the literature that will set the stage here. Essentially, what occurred in the past is there was schools were segregated initially. There were black schools and there were white schools. And in 1954, based off of work done by lawyers and Kenneth Clark's seminal study, it was decided that segregation of the schools, separate but equal doctrine, was no longer sufficient and was actually harmful. So the government required schools to desegregate. Now, from the 25 years in which that decision was made, and when Kenneth Clark did a review of the impact of the desegregation movement, he found that while desegregation has begun, it's woefully insufficient, and that there is still quite a lot of work to be done in desegregation of school systems and of desegregation of society at large. It was still quite evident, still quite prevalent. And the spirit of the Brown v. Board of Education decision was really not being upheld, specifically in northern urban centers, places like New York City. Now, what does this all mean? It means that there's still bias in the classroom. It means that teachers are still experiencing, are still enacting racial bias to their students. And one of the ways in which this bias can be measured and seen is through the interpretation of student behaviors, of vague and open to interpretation student behavior. And the ways in which this can look is through overrepresentation of students of color in special education classrooms, and it can also look as the disciplinary practices of students of color and low socioeconomic students being different than for other students. That's the backdrop here. So with this in mind, this study is focused on how are aspects of students' race and socioeconomic status is associated with students, with teachers and counselors' recommendations regarding the supportive and remedial services provided to them. Now this study, produces new information for school-based professionals in that previous studies have not examined the interaction between race and ethnic identity, ethnic identity, and social class. I'm also going to be producing hypotheses and directions for future research. And previous studies have only really, examined differences in the number and the nature of accommodations given to Black, white, and poor students, but didn't really explore other racial identities or social class statuses and how these might interact in school-based decision making. So I'll talk a little about the data here, where this data is archival. So I essentially recruited, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who these participants were that I recruited. Who is the data? They were 203 people who responded to these questions, who were either working members or a graduate student with a current practicum in a school-based field of education, school counseling, school social work, or school psychology. So these participants had to be practicing in the public, private, or charter schools at the elementary, middle, or high school level. And these individuals also were residing primarily in the United States. They had to be working and residing in the United States. Now, the race ethnicity question that was provided here was constructed using the U.S. Census categorizations, which conflate race and ethnicity. For example, Black and African American were an option for participants to select. But Black is the race, while African American is the ethnicity. We know this now, but participants, and when this study was done, that wasn't what we did. So the survey also allowed people to select multiple categories, and ultimately this option was only utilized for participants who were checking off the Latinx and ethnic group. They were the only ones who picked multiple options. However, 9 participants selected only the Latinx ethnic group and did not select a racial category at all. In order to more clearly reflect participant race, the current study created a new variable. I created a new variable. I created. What the fuck? I created a new variable to extract the racial groups reflected in the sample. And these categories were Black, Native American, Asian, and white. Additionally, to further condense the data, I created a new categorization where it was white. I'm going to add this. Furthermore, the data was further condensed to white and person of color, since the majority of the sample was white. The overwhelming majority of the sample was white. So these 9 participants, I gotta say a little bit more about them. Then there were participants who did not select any racial group, and they were categorized as race not identified. identified. Okay. So we'll redo this part of it real quick. I know I spent like 2 minutes on this one, but we're doing better on timing. Let's try this again. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about who's the data, and how was this collected. I collected the data using students or working members in education, school counseling, school social work, and school psychology. These participants had to be practicing in either public, private, or charter schools at the elementary, middle, or high school level. And these individuals resided in the United States and worked in the United States. Now, the race ethnicity question was constructed using the U.S. Census categorizations, which happen to conflate race and ethnicity. For example, Black and African American were both options. Participants were both one option, but those are, as we know, separate identities. One's Black, you can be Black, and Latinx, for example. Those are two separate things, race and ethnicity, Latinx being the ethnicity. And this is going to come up actually in just a moment, because there were 9 participants who only picked Latinx and didn't pick any racial categorization. I won't go into that way. I'll say it again. I'll say it differently. So now we're going to talk about who the data is. Who are these participants, and how did I get it? So first, the participants were, I recruited 203 participants. I know many of us do too. I agree with you, but I have to use it. So our participants were either working members or graduate students with current practica, school-based fields of education like school counseling, school social work, or school psychology. Participants had to be either working in public, middle, or high schools in the United States. And so next part here is the race and ethnicity of these participants were constructed. The questions were constructed using the U.S. Census categorizations, which caused a problem because race and ethnicity is conflated in these questions. The survey also allowed participants to select multiple categories, and ultimately this option was actually only used by participants who were checking off the Latinx ethnicity group. However, 9 participants selected only Latinx ethnic group and did not select any of the racial categorizations. So in order to more clearly reflect participant race, in this current study, I created a new variable to extract the racial groups selected in the sample separately. And these were Black, Native American, Asian, and white. I also further condensed the data into white and person of color, since the overwhelming majority of the sample was white. And there weren't as many people of color across the study. Then there were participants who did not select any racial group, and these were categorized as race not identified. The 9 Latinx individuals were part of the race not identified categorization, since I could not assume to know what race they were, as Latinx individuals who are ethnically Latinx can be any race. They can be white, they can be Black, they can identify as many other races. So I couldn't know. They could identify as Asian. Like there are many racial categories that they could fall into. And to protect the integrity of the data, I treated them as race not identified, because that was the most accurate statement. Each participant also had, I spent a lot of time on that one. I gotta say that faster. We're gonna do this again. I gotta do it like in 1 minute. So now we're gonna talk about this data. Who are these folks? Who are the people? And so there are 200 people were surveyed, and ultimately yielding 136 complete records where they answered all of the experimental questions about the vignette. They may not have answered all the demographic questions, but they at least told us whether they were a school counselor or a teacher. We knew that much. We knew enough to utilize them in the study, but we may not have them. They may not have answered every other demographic question. But they answered what was required. Fuck, I'm spending too long on that. Jesus Christ. One more time. So now we're going to talk about who are these folks? Who is this data? These people were either graduate students or working members in current practicum with school-based fields like education, school counseling, school social work, school psychology, and they were working between either elementary to high school in the United States. That was the requirement. Now, the race and ethnicity was constructed. The question that was presented to the participants was constructed using the U.S. Census categorizations, which conflated race and ethnicity. This created an issue because these two things are separate. So what I did was separate these questions, separate this data by participants who identify as either Black, Native American, Asian, or white. This worked out fine for the most part, except for there were 9 participants who picked Latinx and only Latinx as their racial ethnic identity. For those individuals, since I can't assume to know what their racial identity is, since Latinx people can be Black, white, Asian, there are many different ways in which they can identify racially. I couldn't assume to know what their race was, so I put them in the race not identified categorization, which is what I made when I further condensed the data to white, people of color, and race not identified, since the overwhelming majority of the data set were white. And to increase the power of the results, and more meaningful results, participants of color were grouped together. Finally, participants were also able to present their social class membership via the study, which were 6 options, and this was further reduced into 4 categories of poverty, working class, middle class, and upper class. And this change was to address the low number of participants that self-identify as upper class, wealthy, low income, poverty, and working class. It was good. So we're 4 slides in, and we're at about 5 minutes. Well, let's move along. I can always spend 15 minutes on the presentation. It's called practice, baby. Talking about practice, son. So now I'm going to be organizing my results according to my research questions. Fucking Mister, I'm not changing my slides. The slides are the slides, and nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. This isn't an editing stream. Okay. So it's too bad. Suck it up. It's not supposed to be. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be pretty. It just has to present. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to be organizing the data analysis results based off of my research questions, which there were 4 main ones. The first aim is to analyze the behavioral ratings and service programmatic interventions according to teachers, interventions, recommendations of the teachers and counselors for the study student vignettes. And exploratory factor analysis is used to determine the thematic relationships. And the second study aim is to identify correlates of behavioral ratings and service recommendations for individual teachers and counselors, characteristics such as social class, race, and current type of school involvement. The factor analyzed subcategories for use in multiple... What? The factor analyzed subcategories are for use in multiple regression analysis that model participant and student racial cuts. What? Why is that a name? Well, that was a name. It was a name, and I changed it. I'm gonna use a different use different phrasing. Use that, study aim 2. We're not changing the slides. We're only changing my notes. No one cares about the slides. The slides are irrelevant. They're just there because I have to have them. But I get no brownie points for them being like prettier. They quite literally don't give a fuck. The final 12 recommendations here. So race. Bold race. And then social class. Final choice and race. Final choice and SES. Aim 3. Three was that. Prodigy. We're going to do, there are no significant main effects for SES or race. So here's what I'll say. This is where I put this here. Put this in here. Let's practice this one slide. It takes real estate from your slides and aesthetic reason, which isn't even pretty. I know it does. Doesn't matter, it's fine. What you're saying is I just don't care. Okay, I just don't give a fuck about these slides. So let's try going on this slide. Where's my timer? Stop, reset. So my third aim is this research question was concerned with the relationship between disposition profiles and participant SES, race, or current professional field within the vignette conditions. So ANOVAs were used to assess the association of two independent variables associated with the experimental condition vignette race, vignette SES, with the student disposition profile subscale scores, prodigy, problem child, and sensitive child, while accounting for the impact of participant SES, participant race, and participant professional field. Preliminary analyses were conducted to ensure no violation of the assumption of normality, linearity, multicollinearity, and homoscedasticity, where the assumptions of the model were basically. Now, something that's going to be important in this section is that, oftentimes omnibus tests found no significant results, significant effects, but pairwise comparisons performed on a post hoc basis using the Bonferroni correction did produce significant results. Now, this seemingly discrepant findings, such as this, can result from the difference in power between the ANOVA test and the pairwise comparisons. The null hypothesis for the ANOVA model is that all treatment groups have equal means, while the null hypothesis for the pairwise comparisons is that two specific groups have equal means. Therefore, it's more likely to find that two specific groups being compared might have different means, while across all treatment groups, the null hypothesis of equal means is still being held. The power is different. Which is why we're probably finding this difference. This is why we're finding a seemingly contradictory result. Hence, we're looking at trends here. So here I'll begin hitting the highlights there were many results that were non-significant. I'll only be talking about the significant results. There were no significant main effects for vignette SES or vignette race, generally. And post hoc comparisons indicated that the mean rating for Asian American vignette was significantly higher than the Latinx vignette on the Prodigy subscale, meaning that, hold on, first I'll say, so a two-way between subject ANOVA was conducted to compare the effect of vignette SES and vignette race on the Prodigy subscale. Well, what we found was significant are two findings across all of my comparisons that I ran. The first, there were no significant main effects for vignette SES or vignette race. However, the post-hoc comparisons found that the mean rating for Asian American vignette was significantly higher than the Latinx vignette, meaning that when a participant saw a Asian American student, they were more likely to rate them as a prodigy than a Latinx student. The next finding was that the middle SES participant group, there were no, again, significant effects for vignette SES or vignette race. However, there was a statistically significant interaction between vignette SES and vignette race on the Prodigy rating subscale. The post-hoc comparisons here found that using the Bonferroni correction indicated that the mean rating for the black vignette was also significantly higher than the white vignette. Again, meaning that when participants were viewing a black student in this vignette, I'll do them later, I'm working. There was, if your questions aren't about the study, I'm going to ignore your questions, okay? Because I'm working right now. The mean rating for black vignette was significantly higher than the white vignette. Now, what this means is that when a participant was viewing a black vignette student, they're more likely to rate them higher on the Prodigy subscale than for a white student, when the participant is from the middle SES category. Next, again, we're now reviewing the problem child. So here, on this subscale, there were no significant main effects for vignette SES or vignette. No! I got kicked! Oh, fuck! Oh, no! Fuck! No! 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 Let me back in! No! Oh, what did I fucking... No! 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 I forgot I was even logged in. I completely forgot. Fuck. Should have made a timer. Get me back. Get me back. Whew. Oh, fuck. We can deal with the 33-player cube. Oh, you made a poll. I now see in the Twitch thing. So here, 2A ANOVA. We'll add this here. So now in the problem child subrating, we did a two-way between subjects ANOVA to compare the effects of vignette SES and vignette race on the Prodigy subscale. Now, again, I'm just highlighting the significant results, the significant findings, and so generally, first of all, there were no significant main effects for vignette SES or vignette race. However, there was statistically significant interaction between. Oh, I aimed my timer. Stop. Restart. So there were no significant main effects for vignette SES or vignette race. But there were statistically significant interaction between vignette SES and vignette race on the problem child subscale rating. And these post-hoc comparisons were showing that the mean rating for white vignette was significantly higher than the Latinx vignette, meaning that the participants who were viewing this child were more likely to rate them as having more problematic features if they were white than if they were Latinx. Now, for the upper SES participant group, there were no, again, significant main effects for vignette SES, vignette race, or an interaction. However, these pairwise comparisons, the mean rating for the Latinx vignette was significantly higher than the Asian American vignette. Oh shit, there's one thing I had to add. Now, I remember this here. This is my favorite part to talk about. For white participant group, there was significant main effects for SES, but not for vignette race. And this is a sensitive child. Where are you? For the white participant group, there it is. There was a significant main effect for vignette. There it is. Did she just add that, or what the fuck? Let's turn my timer on so I don't. Timer. 25 minutes is good. Start the stopwatch. There was also not SES race. There's no main effect for vignette race. So we're gonna delete that. There was no main effect. Convenient, yes, but bold. Significantly higher than this. Okay. Let's take a look at this this clip you got here. For vignette, SES or vignette. No, I got kicked. Oh fuck. For vignette, SES or vignette. No, I got kicked. Oh fuck. Oh no. For vignette, SES, or vignette. No! I got kicked! Oh, fuck! Oh, no! Post now on Twitter. That's good. That's a good clip. Fuck! So funny. For vignette, SES, or vignette. No! I got kicked! Oh, fuck! Oh, no! We're gonna watch that a couple more times. Fuck! For vignette, SES, or... Can we slow it down? For vignette... No! Or vignette... You should reply to your tweet. Oh, the moment of horror realization. Like, oh, fuck, no. This is what Q's do to a motherfucker, man. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Start a zombie apocalypse. No. For the white participant group, there was a significant main effect for vignette SES, but not a significant main effect for vignette race, meaning that for white participants... Yeah, okay, cool. Wait. What? Oh, so this is in the wrong spot. I see. Ah, I ran out of space. Fuck. That clip does have main potential. See what happens when you put it as a decoration element? Oh, yeah, I know. Fucking decoration. Piece of shit. It wasn't a problem before. Fucking tricky. It's what I used for the first one. So like I'm stuck with it. I can't undo it. Their eyes forever. Oh, fuck. Fuck you. Okay, so for the white participant group, there was a significant main effect for vignette SES, but not a significant main effect for vignette race. And then further, with post-hoc comparisons, we found that the mean rating for the low SES vignette was significantly higher than the high SES vignette, meaning that white participants were more likely to see a low SES student as more sensitive than a high SES student, essentially. Why is this smaller? 14 is 16. 16. Can I make you bigger? Nope. Not really. God, I hate these slides. What does that mean? It's a good question. See, these are the kind of questions I'm talking about. Fuck, this thing is so ugly. What does what mean? But are there people with ADHD in the public? This isn't for public consumption. This is for my 3 reviewers. You're getting a very rare view into the process of dissertations. This doesn't exist. There's no place where you can view this. This is unique shit. The SES thing, it means SES, the vignette SES, meaning that for the participants who were for the study vignettes where the student was low STS, regardless of whether they were racially, black, white, otherwise, Asian, Latinx, those study vignettes were all condensed into low SCS or high SCS. And for participants who were white that saw the vignette that was low SCS, they are more likely to rate those students as having more sensitive characteristics than a high SCS student. A sensitive meaning that student was, so we'll go back up here actually, let's do this slide. So I created a factor structure. There are no graphs in my study. It's all qualitative mixed methods. It's quantitative. It's a quantitative study. What the hell? Is this spelled wrong? How the hell is that spelled wrong? Blushes. This lister can't be on any of these slides. I have this decorative element on the bottom. I'm looking for my, looking for where I tell them what these ratings mean. Man, why is this the right one? When the hell did this, I thought I fixed this. What the fuck? Why are you like this? Fucking hate it. I fucking hate this. Come on. Nobody understands Wizardry of Word. I know. You see this bullshit I'm dealing with? Dumbass piece of shit. Bane of my fucking existence. I get so mad. See how fast I can say this slide. Bow, 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 bow. We're gonna read this slide. Okay. Then I'll catch up with chat. I have a theory: parenting workshops will not work if the parent does not love the child. Your love of a child is key, definitely. You make an image with the text how you want, and you paste it into the presentation. But I needed to edit it. That's dumb. Fuck that. I mean, even using Figma, you can fix this much better. Oh, in Figma. Oh, fucking Figma. Do you work for Figma or something? Jesus Christ. Swear to God. Like a walking ad for Figma. So here, this is what I'm going to say here. Okay, so now we're going to talk about this slide. I know I'm going a little out of order, but fuck it. All right, so here, regarding this first aim, the factor structure, I extracted 3 factors. They were named the problem child, the prodigy, and the sensitive child. Now, these factors can be interpreted the following way. The problem child, the problem child is usually a student who has poor self-regulation abilities. Oh, I didn't start the thing. So, regarding this first aim, I used rotated factor structure, which you can see in the table to the right, and it shows a 3-factor solution. Any item with factors loading of more than 0.3 is considered a significant result. Furthermore, the items are clustered together in groups of at least 5 with the loadings of at least 0.3. This indicates that the factor structure is likely good enough for analysis. Additionally, there's minimal cross-loading for each item within a factor. This means that a given item loaded upon its main factor, and did not load significantly on the other 2 factors. For the 2 items that did load on 2 factors, the factor that it loaded most strongly on was considered its primary factor loading. That's what I'm going to start with. That took 50 seconds. Fuck me. Let's try this again. Pause, restart. So this is regarding aim 1. The rotated factor structure is on table 8, which is to the right. Let me check my email here. I'm interviewing these new interns in about Motivation. Where's my timer? There it is. Restart. So this here is the rotated factor structure, which is on the table to the right. Any item with a factor loading of more than 0.3 is considered a significant result. Furthermore, the items that were clustering together in groups of at least 5 and with loadings of at least 0.3, this includes the factor structure. This indicates that the factor structure is likely good enough for analysis. Additionally, there's minimal cross-loading for each item within a factor. That means that a given item loaded upon its main factor and did not load significantly on the other 2 factors. For the 2 items that did load on 2 factors, the factor that it loaded most strongly on was considered its primary factor loading. The factors that were extracted are named the problem child, the prodigy, and the sensitive child. Now, these factors can be interpreted the following way. The problem child is viewed as a student who has poor self-regulation abilities, is dangerous to other children physically, is argumentative with the teacher, and is viewed as having underlying mental health difficulties. The second factor is named the prodigy. This child is viewed as being intellectually gifted and bored due to lack of academic challenge. This child is essentially seen as too intelligent for the coursework and is underperforming due to boredom. The third factor is the sensitive child. This student is viewed as coming from a household that lacks parental structure and is stressful for the student in some way. This child is seen as internalizing their distress that manifests as shyness, withdrawal, and general passivity. These 3 factors were turned into subscales, where each Likert rating for the items that are mostly loaded on that subscale were added up. Therefore, the more strongly a participant rated their attitude toward the student on the Likert scale, the more points were added to this newly created variable. Henceforth, these 3 factors will be referred to as subscales of the disposition profile. All right, that slide is fucking fire. 2 minutes, bam. Just like bam. That shit felt good to say out loud, man. Well, you know, these things aren't necessarily saying like what the actual problem is. This is just saying this is how the teacher sees the student. So it makes no interpretation of like what's actually going on. But parents are key. Parents are totally key. Yeah, caregivers are super important. But I love this slide. This is my favorite slide. If all my slides were like this, I'd be happy. But they're not. Some of them are much messier. Like this one. So I spend 6 minutes basically from here, 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 and here for the first 5 slides. Spend 2 minutes here, which means I'm at 8 minutes. The tricky child. The tricky child. True. I couldn't let him know about the tricky child though. They're not ready for her. They're not ready. They ain't ready. Oh man. He's not ready. That was a 2 minute like bam. 2 minute bam. Hit that one like right in the fucking face. Aim 2. I need to like blow through these slides faster for aim 2. Because they're too many. Let's see how we do this. Let's do what we got. So for aim 2 was to identify the correlates of behavioral ratings and service recommendations with individual participant characteristics such as social class, race, and current type of school involvement. Now, I learned through this process that, I'll just say that. Now, this first step in this analysis was to review the service recommendation participants made across all vignette conditions when they were given a choice to select all service recommendations that seemed appropriate and might benefit the student. The top 5 choices for all categories, which is the table on the left, across all vignette conditions were supportive school counseling, school counselor consultation with family, after-school art programs, strategic behavior plan, and family meeting on student performance. And now when they were presented with, as mentioned, the final choice item was followed by an item that was asked to choose one final most. So next, participants, they have to unlock that one. You're right. Next, participants were required to pick their most highly prioritized service recommendation for Michael. The top five final choice categories across all vignette conditions were supportive school counseling, guidance, school counselor consultation with family meeting for support for classroom performance, after school art program, and school social worker support. Okay, we're gonna run through that one more time. So the first step analysis to review the service recommendations participants made across all vignette conditions when they were given the choice to choose all service recommendations that seemed appropriate and might benefit the student. What? So aim 2, I was trying to identify the correlates between behavioral ratings and service recommendations for individual participant characteristics such as social class, race, and current type of school involvement. The first step of this analysis was to review the service recommendations participants made across all vignette conditions when they were given a choice to choose all service recommendations that seemed appropriate and might benefit the student. The top 5 choices for this categories across all vignette conditions were supportive school counseling, school counselor consultation with family, after school art program, strategic behavior plan, and family meeting on student performance. Next, participants were required to pick their most highly prioritized service recommendation for Michael. The top 5 final choice for categories across all vignette conditions were supportive school counseling or guidance, school counselors consultations with family meeting for supportive classroom performance, after school art programming, and school social worker support. Okay, I spent 1 minute on that. That's great. That's perfect. Hold on, I'm right back. I go to the bathroom. Enjoy us while I do that. Have I played Phantasy Star Online too? Yeah, I have. No, I was going to the bathroom. How do I stop this timer? Shut the fuck up. I don't love Phantasy Star Online too. It's not. I don't love it. I know. It's not. I don't love the game, unfortunately. All right. So that first slide here. Bam. It's fine. Next slide here. We want actually, we'll do this here. Copy. I love this song, man. The vignette erase, where are you? Social worker support, so academic performance, where are you? Social, there you are. Social worker support. I feel like I'm gonna put my reviewers to sleep talking about this. I think I might add. No, I can't add that. I'll have to just say it. I'll just say this out loud. So for this item, an exploration was conducted on the relationship between student vignette characteristics. For this aim. So next, an exploration of the relationship between student vignette characteristics, specifically Michael's racial group, or SES, and service recommendations when participants were invited to choose. I won't say that. Fuck that. I'll say this. Next, service recommendations were examined according to different vignette race conditions, collapsing across vignette SES. Why do I have this here? What the fuck? Okay, I'll say it this way. We'll read through this slide. Stopwatch. Reset. The second aim was to explore correlates of the service recommendations with individual participant characteristics such as social class, race, and professional field of context or a vignette condition. Professional field in the context of vignette condition. For these analyses, races of the participant were condensed within 2 participant categories corresponding to a person of color, white participants, and it's 3 participant categories. I gotta fix that in the freaking write-up. Corresponding to persons of color, white participants, and those who did not identify with any racial category to help account for the predisponence of white participants as compared to other racial categories. The first step in this analysis was to review the service recommendations participants made across all vignette conditions when they were given a choice, which you can see in the left table, that seemed appropriate and might benefit the student. This is on the left of this slide. The top 5 categories across all vignette conditions were support school counseling, school counselor, consultation with family, after-school art program, strategic behavior plan, and family meeting on student performance. Next, participants were required to pick one of their most highly prioritized service recommendation. For Michael, the top 5 final choice categories across all vignette conditions were supportive school counseling and or guidance, school counselor consultation with family, family meeting for support of classroom performance and after-school art program, and school social worker support. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fine. Next, service recommendations were examined according to different vignette study conditions, collapsing across vignette SES. A chi-squared test of independence was performed to examine the relationship between vignette race and the recommendation of so here again I'll only be talking about these significant results. I did many tests that were non-significant, but I'm only presenting here these significant findings. Chi-square test of independence was performed to examine the relationship between vignette race and the recommendation of accelerated academic placement. And as you can see, the post-hoc analysis, this was a significant finding, and the post-hoc residual analysis indicated that there was a significant difference in the decision on this item between Asian American and Latinx vignettes. Fuck. I gotta add that. I gotta add what I found. Accelerated academic placement. There you are. Did I get that right? So the direction of the difference suggests that when Michael was Asian, participants were more likely to recommend accelerated advanced placement for him than when he was Latinx. So what I'll say is we'll say a slide again. We'll say this again. Say this again. Reset. That was 3 minutes. So next, service recommendations were examined according to different vignette race conditions, collapsing across vignette SES. I used chi-squares, test of independence here, to examine the relationship between vignette race and the recommendation made by these individuals. The only 2 that had significant results were accelerated advanced academic placement and school social work support recommendations. Now, further analyses, post-hoc analyses, found that for the accelerated advanced academic placement condition, the significant difference was driven by the difference between Asian American and Latinx vignette conditions, where the participant was more likely to recommend accelerated advanced academic placement for Asian American Michael and less likely to do that for Latinx Michael when you compare these 2 particular groups. That seemed to be driving the difference. That was the most significant difference. That was the only significant difference. Then for the school, okay, that took about 1 minute. I mean, I'll say it that way. That's fine how I'm saying it. And they can see it in front of them too. It's not like it's not hidden. It's like right in front of them. Academic placement. Social work. B. accelerated. Okay. For the social worker support, the chi-squared independence again shows a significant difference here, and in this recommendation, and this difference was between the items of Latinx and white study vignette conditions. The direction of this difference suggested that when Michael was Latinx, participants were far more likely to say this student needs a visit from the social worker than if he was white. Choose all certain and yes. So here we got 3. Next. Why am I coughing so much? The fuck? You want sit-ups? Not. I gotta finish this. Next, I have a meeting at 30 minutes. I'm off today, but I'm off doing work. So next, to examine the service recommendation frequencies across all participants between the two experimental conditions representing vignette SES by collapsing across vignette race, the chi-square was used again to compare categorical frequencies of each service recommendation. And 3 were significant: school counselor consultation with family, special education teacher support services, and accelerated advanced academic placement. For the school counselor consultation with family, the significant difference is between the low SES and high SES vignettes. There was post hoc analysis revealed that there was a significant difference between low SES and the high SES vignette conditions. And the direction of this, the pulse hoc residual analysis indicated that there was a significant difference in the decision on this item between low SES and high SES vignettes. The direction of this difference suggested that when Michael has a low SES, he was significantly more likely to have been recommended school counselor consultation with family than if he was high SES. I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's do it like this. There we go. It's getting my way. Education support services. Okay. So now we can turn on our timer. So next, to examine the service recommendation frequencies across all participants between the two experimental conditions representing vignette SCS, I collapsed across vignette. So next, I examined service recommendation frequencies across all participants between the two experimental conditions by next, I examined service recommendation frequencies across all participants between the two experimental conditions of vignette SES by collapsing across vignette race. The chi-square test was used again to compare categorical frequencies of each. I gotta redo the timer of each service recommendation. Redo the timer. Restart. The next, I examined the service recommendation frequencies across all participants between the two experimental conditions of vignette SCS by collapsing across vignette race. The chi-square test was used here to compare categorical frequencies of each service recommendation. I'm again only presenting the significant findings. Now, there were 3. School counselor consultation with family, where the post-hoc residuals found that the decision on this item was significantly different between low SES and high SES vignette. Now, the direction of this difference suggests that when Michael was low SES, he was significantly more likely to have been recommended to a school counselor consultation with family than if he was high SES. The next significant finding is that special education is regarding special education teacher support services. Now, there is a significant difference in the decision on this item between low SES and high SES vignettes. And the direction of this difference suggested that when Michael was a low SES, he was significantly less likely to have been recommended special education teacher support services than if he was high SES. And finally, for accelerated academic placement, the difference that was significant here is between the low SES and the high SES vignette. And the direction of this difference suggested that when Michael was high SES, he was significantly less likely to have been recommended accelerated academic placement than if he was low SES. 1 minute and 30. So we got 1:30, 1:30, 2 minutes. 1, 3. We're almost through this section. I might just not use this slide. Might delete this. Why do I need this slide? I think it's interesting. Oh, that's why this pains you so much. I forget. I'm gonna remove this slide. I don't need it. We're gonna make this version 3. Save as a copy, v3. v4. Yeah, one button, one sentence. Yeah, I was just pressing buttons. All right, I'm gonna stop streaming for a bit. I have to do interviews now. So I'll see you all in like an hour and a half. I'll be back at 2. I'll be back at 2:30. I'll be back at 2:30. Should probably get some dinner. I mean lunch. When did I eat? What did I eat? When did I eat? I ate at 9. Why am I not hungry yet? What the fuck? Am I surviving off of coffee alone? I should not do that. I should probably order lunch. Will likely arrive while I'm interviewing those folks, which is not ideal. Nah, it is what it is. All right, I'll be back. I'm not gonna rate anybody right now because I gotta get ready for these interviewees. All right, peace.